I always thought my family was just like everyone else's, normal in every way, or at least as much as anyone could expect. But I had no idea that one afternoon, which seemed so ordinary, would turn into a hilariously awkward experience, all thanks to my mom and our incredibly hyper dog. It all started when I was relaxing at home, after what felt like an eternity of long work weeks. I had finally found the time to kick back, something that seemed like a rare luxury these days. A fresh cup of coffee was in my hands as I sank into the couch, letting the soft cushions engulf me. I was prepared to enjoy some much-needed downtime, mentally ready for a few hours of peace. Then out of nowhere, my mom barged into the room, beaming with excitement and practically bouncing on her feet. "Hey," she called out, "I've got the best idea for you. You've got to do this with Max right now, and you have to record it." I stared at her, completely confused. "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to keep up with her enthusiasm. "Oh, trust me," she replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "It's going to be hilarious." She was already heading toward the living room where our dog Max was laying on the floor, oblivious to the impending chaos. Now let me give you some background on Max. He's not just any dog. He's a bundle of fluffy energy with a non-stop supply of enthusiasm. Max is a border collie, and if you know anything about them, you'll understand that they can turn even the calmest environment into a whirlwind. If you're sitting still for more than 5 minutes, he interprets that as an invitation to jump on you, lick your face, and drag you into whatever crazy scheme he has in mind. Imagine a furry tornado with no off button, and you've got Max. I raised an eyebrow, still trying to process what my mom was proposing. "What exactly are you planning?" I asked, already dreading the answer. Her smile stretched wider, and she pulled out her phone. "I want you to film yourself and Max doing the dog dance challenge," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm practically contagious. At that moment, I almost dropped my coffee. "The what?" I stammered, still trying to wrap my head around her words. "The dog dance challenge," she said, now even more excited. "You know, the one where you dance with your dog on camera." My brain couldn't quite process this, but the look on her face made it clear that I wasn't going to get out of this one. I've learned over the years that when my mom has an idea, no matter how ridiculous it sounds, it's usually better to just go along with it. So before I could protest, she was already setting up the camera. Max, in his usual fashion, started spinning in circles as if he could sense something wild was about to unfold. There I was, standing in the middle of the living room, staring at Max, trying to figure out how I was going to pull off a dance routine with a dog who had zero interest in following any kind of choreography. Max was already bouncing around, tail wagging, tongue out, looking at me as if he were about to start the wildest adventure of his life. I hesitated for a moment, feeling awkward. I'm no dancer. In fact, I'm pretty bad at it. And as for Max, well, his dancing abilities were highly questionable. But with my mom cheering from the sidelines, I figured I might as well give it a shot. I started to move, trying to sway side to side, while Max did his own thing, of course. Instead of following me, he darted in tight circles around my feet, occasionally licking my legs as if to remind me that rhythm wasn't his priority. Every time I tried to pull off a simple move, Max would leap up and knock into me, causing me to stumble. It was chaos, plain and simple. Meanwhile, my mom was sitting on the couch, capturing the whole spectacle on her phone. She was laughing so hard her face was turning red, and the camera was wobbling in her hands. "This is going to go viral," she shouted, barely able to catch her breath between bursts of laughter. I wasn't sure if she was serious or if she just enjoyed watching me embarrass myself. Max, however, was living his best life. He had no clue what was going on, but was having the time of his life, running circles around the living room, his tail wagging like a blur, and almost knocking over a lamp in the process. At one point, Max even tried to leap into the air, spinning mid-flight, and it threw me completely off balance, causing me to trip over my own feet. It was a beautiful disaster. I was desperately trying to follow some semblance of a dance routine while Max turned the living room into his personal playground. He sniffed the floor, licked my shoes, and barked occasionally, as though encouraging me to keep going. There were a few moments when our movements accidentally aligned, like when I spun in one direction and Max followed, almost in sync with me. But for the most part, I was just trying to stay on my feet while Max was busy having the time of his life. After about 10 minutes of this chaos, my legs were sore, and Max was panting heavily, his tongue hanging out like he'd just run a marathon. Okay, okay, that's enough for today, I called out, winded, as I collapsed onto the couch. Max immediately jumped up beside me, licking my face as if to congratulate us on our dance. You two are absolutely adorable, my mom said, still chuckling as she watched the video playback. This is definitely going on social media. Mom, please no, I begged, mortified by the thought of this ridiculous video going viral. But as usual, it was too late. Before I could protest any further, she'd already uploaded it with the caption, Dog Dance Challenge, Epic Fail or Epic Win. You decide. Not long after, my phone started blowing up with notifications. Friends, family, even people I barely knew were commenting on the video, calling it adorable. Some were tagging me, laughing at my uncoordinated moves, while others were gushing over Max's antics. One person even called Max the true star of the show, which, let's be honest, was probably accurate. Although it wasn't the viral moment I'd envisioned, I couldn't help but feel a little proud. Max had clearly stolen the show, and my awkward dancing was just the icing on the cake. The video quickly became one of those feel-good moments that brightened everyone's day. Even though I was embarrassed, it was nice to know we had made people smile. By the end of the day, my mom had already made me promise we'd do another challenge with Max in the future. I rolled my eyes at the thought of more viral moments. But then again, sometimes the most unexpected, spontaneous moments, like an impromptu dog dance session, end up being the most memorable. And hey, at least Max got a ton of new fans. He's officially a social media dancing sensation now, and I'm just the person who happens to be his sidekick.